me start by welcoming everyone to today's class. My name is Rick Anderson. I'm the CEO and founder of We Envision IT. Today we'll take a look at remote desktop access software. Before we get started, let me give you some background to how the remote desktop access software came about. Why do we have it? What was the reason for it? And the main reason was that information technology administrators and technicians, or what we call IT personnel, came out and said, listen, we are not able to work on more than one workstation at a time, or servers. And if these are placed in a far distance from each other, we have a lot of waste time just by transporting ourselves from one to another. Is it possible to get a piece of software where we are able to access these workstations over a business network, and thereby we can go in, log into the user's computer to troubleshoot, to install pieces of software, perhaps even program on the computer, and thereby enable the IT department to work on several computers at the same time. That means that allowing a faster service for the end user and thereby make everybody happy. So that's really the reason behind the remote desktop software. It has, of course, expanded. The features that comes with the remote desktop software today is far, far more sophisticated today than it was 20 years ago. The reason that remote desktop software could be beneficial for even the end user at work, or you and me, is very simple. We all have a need sometimes to do stuff from other locations because that gives us freedom. I'm thinking here about salespeople that is many times out of town, but they have to be able to access their office computer from a distance. They also have to be able to access files perhaps to do their job, especially if they're sitting in the hotel room and waiting for the meeting next day. It would be great if they could do work from a hotel room without literally have to bring everything from their office. Also, people that had long telecommuting to do are benefiting from these remote desktop software because instead of sleeping or reading the newspaper, what you can do today, because that trains today have Wi-Fi and so on, you could do work from trains. So if you have 1 or 2 hours telecommuting, you could do work. Also, if you have the needs that you perhaps are behind with your work and you would like to go in and finish it up over the weekend, why spend time on traveling if you could access your office computer from home? So it is really in everybody's interest that you have remote desktop software so that everyone can either deliver a better service or that you can work from anywhere, access your files from anywhere, and if needed to, call on help and they can access you from wherever you are and help you. So let's go in and take a closer look on the remote desktop software. Okay, let's go ahead and look at remote PC access software on multiple platforms. What is the definition for remote desktop access software? It is very simple, and this has been around for ages. Remote desktop technology makes it possible to view another computer's desktop, and the desktop is what you see on the screen, on your computer. That means that I can access somebody else's desktop. But it also means that I can open folders, I can move files, I can even run programs on the remote computer right from my desktop. It works on most OS systems like Windows, Macintosh, and Linux computers by going in through remote desktop connections, and then through different implementation makes it possible for other people or for you to control other people's desktops. So what is the benefits for doing that? Very simple. It makes it so that it enables me or you or other people so that you can go in and access a computer, control that computer, establish a safe and secure one-to-one connection or one-to-many connections or many-to-one connections remotely, and thereby you can also retrieve documents, you can view archives, and you can even troubleshoot issues. And that's really what you use these remote desktop software for, is that you use them for different things like troubleshooting. If I want to help people that I know, like my family or customers, and I need to log into their computer and help them instead of taking the car and drive, and let's say there's 2 hours drive, then it's much easier to log in from my desktop to their desktop and then help them from home or from the office. And also, what it can be used for is that, let's say that I have certain things I want to teach the employees in the company, but I don't want to sit with each individual one by one. Then I can invite anybody and everybody into my desktop, and I can then have a presentation like I have here and run a presentation and perhaps even a program where I show them what I want to show them, so that I can teach them here's how it's done. Instead of going from one cube to another and teach each individual, then I can tell these people, listen, why don't you at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock or when you log into my computer, and then we'll take the next 30 minutes where I'll teach you guys how to do certain things. That's what you use these remote desktop access programs for. Also, it can be used too if you have a meeting. You want to present this month's sales figures and so on. We don't have to take the plane and fly to the headquarters and then have these meetings. What you can do is you can set up what we call net meetings or conference meetings, where you can go in, you have a computer, you are able to talk, you're perhaps even able to see each other, and you are able to present the stuff that has to be talked about, and then everybody has a say, and it really works like you were sitting in a meeting room where you have these meetings. But before you go out and get one, you have to figure out, of course, what is your needs. If you're a private user, like let's say I was a private person, I want to help my parents or my brother or a friend of mine, then I don't need like net meetings and conference meetings. I don't need presentation meetings. I don't need all that stuff. I just need so that I can log in, see what the person is doing, help that person out, and then remove yourself again. So your needs are different if it's for private use or for use in big companies. What is it you have to look for when you go out and purchase and get one of these programs? What is important for me when I go out and look at it is that that program has to be able so that I can log into other people's computer. That is the remote access, that I can log from my computer into their computer. But also that my computer can be a host. That means that people can log from outside into my computer. So I need both. I need so that I can log in by other people, but they can log in by me. So that means the remote access and hosting. What else does it have to do? It has so that you can transfer files, so that if, let's say that you are having a help desk, you want to help somebody, and they need a file, or you need a file to help them clean up, let's say they are hit by a virus, then I need to transfer a program into their machine and then run these programs and clean up. But I need then to transfer these files that is needed from my computer into theirs. Or if, let's say, that we have a presentation and everybody has to deliver their presentation so that I can run it on my computer. So let's say I have 10 employees that has to attend the meeting. I will host it, and then I need their input. So I want them to be able to transfer their presentations, their files to me, and I can then launch it from here. Then the next thing is multiple monitors. Today there are people that has multiple monitors. They have 2, 3, 4, and the program has to be able so that when you have people in or you are visiting people and they have multiple monitors, you want to be able to see what's going on all monitors. So therefore you need access to multiple monitors. Then you have multiple computer sharing on one screen. That's where I say here that it has to be so that I can invite 10 people and they can log into my computer at one time, see what I do. That means I'm now sharing my screen, my experience with the people that logs in. You have to be able to do that. Then also, what I think is necessary is that you have a message board, that people can post a message if needed to. Or that you can have, if you're 10 people sharing one screen, that you can have what we call a chat, where people are commenting on what's going on the desktop. but without talking. Then what would be nice if that you could talk and everybody could talk. That means having a conference meeting. That is most of the time meant for companies, and it definitely costs money. But it can be done so that you have message boards, chat, and you have talks. Then also what has to be in there is that, and anybody who knows me, it's very essential for me that it can run on multiple platforms. What does that mean? It means that it can run on Windows, it can run on Mac, on Linux, and so on, because there are companies out there, yes, that only have one kind of platforms like Windows or Mac or what they have, but where you have companies today that mix it a little bit up. Servers are Linux servers. There are designers in the company that runs on the Mac platforms, and then Windows is used for accounting and so on. You have to then be able to access multiple platforms. That means that the software has to be able to be installed on these different platforms, and you have to be able to execute it and control their screens, their desktops, and also devices, so that today we have different devices. We have a desktop, we also have a laptop, we also have servers, and we also have tablets now, and we also have smartphones. So you have to be able to control at least your computer or the computer from a mobile device. Because when I say it that way, it is so today that it is not all the programs today. It's a few programs where they allow you to go in and control these devices from your desktop. But you can control your computer from the devices. That means you can log in to your computer from your smartphone or from your tablet, but you cannot log in from your desktop to the tablets or to the smartphones. And I hope over time that they will let it go, and so that you can help people on phones and on tablets and so on from a desktop also. But we'll see. Then we have security, and security goes through everything what we're doing. There has to be high security. It has to be so that you are limited, or you can limit who can get in, when they can get in, and what they can see, what they can do on your computer. So security is a huge factor when you go out there and get a remote access program out there. Then you have, of course, price per session. And then again, I said, if you're a private user, it shouldn't cost $1,000 per session really, because you don't need some of these features. And how often do you use it? So that's something you have to figure out there. And also, it depends. Like I said, net meetings, conference meetings, presentations where you have meetings where you can present and so on are more expensive, and some of them are based on that you have a monthly fee. And there I can say already now, me as a private user, I don't need that. I don't need to have like a conference meeting with my family. Then let's just have lunch or dinner over the weekend and we meet. But I don't need the conference meeting. But perhaps in a company, yes, of course. But most of the time that is combined with that you have a monthly fee that has to be paid for that. So just have that in mind. So let's go in and look at the softwares that's out there today that I think is good and that I'll recommend to use when you want to access other people's computer or them accessing your computers, so that you can at least receive perhaps help if you have trouble with, let's say, virus infected computers and so on, or that you have certain programs you can't figure out how to use them or what is wrong with them. Then you can get other people to help you, or you can help them. And so let's go in and take a look at that. So now we went in and looked at the definition when it comes to remote desktop access software. We also went to the benefit of having a software like that, especially for businesses, but also for private use. We also went in and looked at the features that's out there, what kind of packages there is. We haven't gone through yet, but we will later. But we went in and looked at the features that many of them provides and what the minimum is. And also remember, you more features you want, you more expensive it gets. It also has to be said that remote desktop is one way of defining it. In some circles, they call it screen sharing, just that you're aware. But now we know that that kind of software should work on multiple platforms. And I'm thinking here about Windows, Mac, and Linux. And of course, the mobile platforms like Android and iOS. But we also know now that they work on different devices, like the desktop, the laptop, the tablets, the smartphones, even on servers. But it has to be said that when it comes to mobile devices, and I'm thinking here about the tablets and the smartphones, you are able to log in from your smartphone and tablets to your desktop, but in many cases you are not able to go the other way because the manufacturers out there have not yet opened so that you can go from your desktop into your smartphone or your tablets. But hopefully that will come in the near future. Let's go in and take a look at all the packages that are out there, or at least just take a look what you have to be aware when we are talking about the different packages. And then also I want to show you the package I like. So let's take a look. So let's get started and look at the software package that's out there. The way I got started was that I launched Google search, went in and wrote Best Remote PC Access Software 2014. I got very quickly a list of reviews that was out there, and here I picked one where they so nicely have lined them all up. It has to be said, not all of them are here, and the two packages I like is not in the review, but that's a whole nother thing. But what it is nice when you get into a review like this is that you can see them lined up, you can compare them, you can go in and look at the pricing, you can go in and look at the features that they're coming with, what kind of software package has what kind of features, so that you have a chance to compare them apples with apples and oranges with oranges. So I like that. Also, what you can see here is that some packages you have to pay per month or per year, and some packages you pay a one-time fee and the package is yours. If it's for home use, I like to prefer that you pay one amount and it's yours because I don't use the programs that frequently. But if it is for work, then I would consider to pay monthly or yearly. But again, it depends also on what kind of features and what kind of services, because if there is net meetings / conference meeting or storage or presentations or other services that could be beneficial for me work-wise, then I don't mind to pay monthly or yearly. But if it's for home use, then I prefer to pay the package and the package is mine. So here you can compare it. But like I said, the two packages I prefer is not included here. So let's take a look at that. Before we go further and look at the two packages I like, I would like to mention a third one, especially if it's for home use. The package is called Symantec PC Anywhere. When I started the IT business, Symantec PC Anywhere, or as what was called that time Norton PC Anywhere, was one of the first one and the best at that time. And I loved it, and I have worked with it over the years. I have to admit, the last 2 years, I have preferred to work with the other two that I would like to go through with you. But PC Anywhere is one of the better. What I like about it, especially if it's for private use, is that you pay a one-time fee per licensing, and that's it, instead of monthly. But again, depends on the needs you have, so that if you just need to get into the desktop, be able to transfer files, then PC Anywhere is great. But if you need other, then perhaps you have to consider the other package that's out there. And then some of them, like I said, comes with monthly fees. But let's take a look at the two packages that I really like. Before we move on here from Symantec PC Anywhere, let me just mention that Symantec PC Anywhere here also works cross-platforms. It works on Windows, it works on Linux, it works on Mac OS, and it works on some mobile devices. I prefer that when it comes to remote access software, that it works cross-platforms and on different devices. The two products I really like is the first one here called Real VNC, and the second one is called TeamViewer. So let's first take a look at the Real VNC. The reason I like that is, first of all, it works cross-platforms, so that it works on Windows, it works on Mac and Linux. It also works on different device types like desktops, laptops, tablets, and smartphones. And also that they have set up certain standards and allowed other software companies to use their products, so that if you have Real VNC installed on a workstation, if the person who's trying to log into you doesn't have Real VNC, many times it is possible for the person to log in because many times many of the products that's out there is compatible with VNC, so they can log in. I like that about real VNC. Also, it has to be mentioned that here you pay per licensing, you pay one-time fee. You can sign up for services so that you pay monthly and yearly, but when it comes to the remote desktop access software, you pay a one-time fee per licensing. They have business, they have corporations and so on. So it is very straightforward, and I like that it works cross platforms and so on. But the one I really prefer, and it has to be said, TeamViewer hasn't been around for that long, is TeamViewer. And it comes back again to what I've said before. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it works cross-platform. It works on Windows, Apple, on the Mac, and on the Linux. It works on mobile devices. You can see here iPhone, iPad, Android, and Windows Phone 8. Also here that you pay per licensing, one-time fee. You can sign up for services where you pay monthly or yearly, but normally you pay per licensing. I have to say, for business use, it is a little bit expensive, but it is worth. And what I like is that they have made so that private users can download a version of TeamViewer, use it for private use only, but it at least give you the chance to test it and try it out. And if you like it, then go in and purchase it. And when it comes to business, I would go with it right away because it fulfills most of my needs, most of the companies I know, their needs. And what I like also is it is easy to set up, it is easy to use, and when you're using it, it runs very smoothly. The screens are very quickly built up. There's no delay. You are able to go in, like I mentioned before, you can go in and chat. You can also go in and transfer files and so on. It really has everything you need. Before we move on and take a closer look at TeamViewer, let me just mention that when you have downloaded a version of TeamViewer and before you start installing it, do yourself a favor and go in under support and then go in and look at the videos, the tutorials that they are providing to you. So that when you go in here, you can go in and see remote control, meetings, mobile apps, Android apps, TeamViewer on Windows 8, drag and drop, quality tips, and so on. Go in and see some of these so you get familiar with it before you install it. And also it has to be said that if you go under documentations, there is in here the manual in regards to the remote control, in regards to meetings and so on. So download the manual that you will start with. Just very quickly read about it before you install it. It will help you tremendously. Not that it's very difficult to get installed. It's just that the more you know about a product, the more you will utilize it. That's just my view. So let's go in and take a look at TeamViewer. So let's take a closer look at TeamViewer. As I said, if you go to the main screen, then in here you can download the TeamViewer. So I just press download and it can already see what platform I'm on. I'm on a Mac, so you can see it very quickly downloaded the TeamViewer. When I then press down here, then I should be very quick up running. It has to be said that I'm using the Chrome browser to log in to TeamViewer there, just for your knowledge, because many times people say, but my browser doesn't show the download in the button, it shows it up in the top and so on. It's different from browser to browser, so don't get confused. I use the Chrome. Some people, when they're on Mac, use Safari. If you're on Windows, some use Explorer, they use Firefox. So it's different from browser to browser. But let me minimize here because now we should be in the middle of installing it, and you can see here the TeamViewer comes up here with a screen where it says install TeamViewer on this computer. I say yes by clicking twice. On a Windows machine, it can be a little bit different, but you just follow the instruction that is given to you on the screen. As soon as you start the product up, then it's just by following everything, answer some of the questions it's asking you, and you should be up running in a few minutes. But like I mentioned before, a good thing is to go in, look at the documentation they're providing to you. Also go in and look at some of the tutorials before you get started and then start installing it. Like here now I get set, continue, yes. Then it goes in and mentioning about to the software license agreement and so on. Are you okay with that? Yes. You can read it if you want. Yes, I agree. It says how much space it needs. I say install. And then, of course, it needs to go in and leave files behind. And on most platforms today, there is different layers of security. And here it's asking me to go in and allow it to access the root directory and the startup and so on. I will let it do that because I trust TeamViewer, and I have never had any experience on the Mac and on the Windows have any trouble with viruses or malware or something that have come in through the TeamViewer, so I trust them, so I just let them go in and do what they have to do. And here we just have to be patient, let it run its course, and then just answer the question it is putting forward to you. Here it says close. That's fine. And what I do now on a Mac here is that I go down to the docking and I go in to Launchpad, and in here I will find the TeamViewer icon. And the reason it can be a little slow is because we're working with layers, and sometimes when you are recording your screen like I'm doing so that I can show you what I'm doing, sometimes it gets a little slow. So now I'll go in and see where it is, and I can see here TeamViewer is here. And to avoid I have to go into Launchpad again, I just take that icon here, drag it down to the docking and place it down here next to Skyper and just let it go. Oh, there, that's it. And then it says welcome, continue, yes. And then it says password, and that's because if you want to run it unattended, that means that people can log in at any time. I mostly prefer that when it comes to the company or companies that I'm providing help to and they have TeamViewer, that I can get into Workstation when the end user is not there, but also the end user have to leave their workstation turned on, else you can't do it. Our TeamViewer can work with what called LAN wake up, so that you can wake up their computer, but it depends on how old the computer is and if this is set up. Right now I just say skip because right now I'm not setting it up for unattended access. And what you will end up with is this is the window you will end up with. What is important is that when somebody has to log into you, what they need is your ID, this one here. They need this number and they need this password. Don't worry, because some people say, yeah, but if I give you that, then you can just go in when you want to. Say no, because if you set it up as not unattended, that means that people has to be there. Then every time you start TeamViewer up, it will create a new password, a new code, a new PIN code. Your ID will stay the same, but the password or PIN code will change every time you start TeamViewer up. It can be set up so that you can go down here and set it up so that the person who logs in can log in unattended, because you will then set it up with a password and a user login, and then that is the way it will work if you set it up as unattended. But it also have to set the left part here is when you allow people to get into your computer. This one is that if you want to log into other people's computer, then of course the partner ID is the person's ID. You have to put that in here. So if I want people to log into this machine, what they need is my ID here and the password or the PIN code. If I need to log into them, they have to provide me with the same information as I just have here, but they will of course have their own ID and a password. I will put their ID in here, then I'll say connect, and then if there is a connection, then I will be prompted for the PIN code or the password, and then I should be able to log in. All this over here that I'll leave alone, you can read about that, so I'll just close that down. But here is how you get started. This is the window that you will see as soon as you have set up TeamViewer. This is how it works. When you want people to get in, you have to provide them with this information. If you want to log into their computer, you have to give them, or they have to give you their ID that you put in here, and then you can define if you want to go in and remove desktop, or you want to go in and file transfer. Instead of going in and look at you can transfer files directly into their workstation. So you decide what you want here, but you need their ID first, and then when you press connect to partner, then you get prompted for the password or PIN code, and you need that from the person, and then you can log into their computer. But if you want somebody to log in here, you have to give them your ID plus password. So now you should be able to get started with the TeamViewer. Have fun, and I hope to see you again. Take care.